want to thank him for inviting me and Miss Busby. Miss Busby, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I'm so happy.
It was funny. I worked with Miss Busby about 13, 14 years ago. I met her at FMA, and she was such a beautiful spirit and a beautiful person. And coming here with my wife and bumped into her, and I hadn't seen her in that long. It was truly amazing. But God has a way, and He has a plan. I want to thank my father, who's here, Michael Donovan. He came out to my dad. He's my earthly dad, and he's done a lot to show me how to be a man, how to be a provider, raised me real right, and I'm thankful for that. A lot of people don't get a chance to have that. Not only that, he doesn't know, some of my friends, you know, they looked up to my dad, and you know, and that's really critical in this day and time that we don't have a lot of role models out there, and you need to put your children around somebody that is doing the right thing, or at least trying. And you never know what type of impression, you know, that they're leaving. So I want to start off by saying that households headed today, and I'm taking this from my wife. I get to go first, babe. we talked about some stats earlier this week, and it's really mind-blowing. My pastor, Kirby John Caldwell, has also been a big influential person in my life, and he shares stats with us all the time, and it's really crazy. But I want to share a couple of things with you. Right now, unmarried people living together has more than quadrupled since the 1970s. And most recent polls show that 73% of Americans under the age of 45 believe that life spent with one person is unusual, which is not good. As a result of that, 60% of our children today are born into a single parent household. 60%. In the 70s, that was 30%. So we basically have doubled in 30 years. 1 out of every 3 marriages ends in a divorce. So, you know, it's not really hard to figure out that we got a problem. And the biggest thing is that the men are not taking their rightful place. And we've got to do a better job of doing that. Dropout rate, we all know about that. I'm not an educator, but the dropout rate for African American men is climbing year after year. It's steady going up. African Americans and Latinos, and you know, we're starting to make up more than the jail population. I mean, everybody knows all of these things, and we've got to turn that. And the only way that we'll be able to do that is through God. I really was told that I was going to speak to a lot of men, or just men, but since we got women in here today, because it's very important, you know, because of these stats, and that we have single mothers, a lot of single mothers, you know, they're going to have to step up and place their kids around some positive male figures, role models. Got to do that. I work right across the street in a collection agency, which is a open floor environment, and I have about 70 people in my department. Out of those 70 people, I have 8 men. Yes, me. And the thing about it is, I get a chance to hear some of the stories from a lot of the ladies in my department, and it's sad. It's really sad. And what's sad about it is that it's 2 things. Number one, men are not handling their responsibilities. Well, we're just having babies, you know, and the other thing is women are allowing it. Women are allowing it. And, you know, one of the things I used to tell my daughter all the time is that, you know, don't lower your standards. And unfortunately, right now, we have a lot of women lowering their standards. And we're not holding our men accountable. I can't say this. That woman there held me accountable. You know, we've been together for a long time, and she really did. I remember a situation that happened, and she basically sat me down and said, "You got a choice to make. You know, if you want to do this and that, and you know, if this is the way it's going to be, then we need to split. If not, I'm here for you. But you're going to have to make a choice, because I'm not going to accept this." And we don't have enough women today doing that. And that's allowing the men, you know, to act and behave the way that they're doing right now. So, you know, right now, you know, again, all the stats that we talked about, we see it, it's evident. Young men, especially men, are more disrespectful today than ever. There's no morals. That's kind of going down too. We see a rise and increase in homosexuality, lesbians, and all that stuff, man. It's on the rise, but a lot of that is as a result of what I stated earlier, with single mothers, men not stepping up. All right, let's talk about you know, what we have to do here in a marriage. God clearly lays out his expectations for marriages and the role for the husband and for the wife. And it's all through Galatians, all through Ephesians. I mean, he clearly lays it out for us what we should do. By the time we marry, and this is something else, I have to agree. Let me stop. I have to agree with the young lady. As I started to put this together, and this was really my first time, it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. You know, I started to read and started to research. You know, made me think a little bit, do a lot of thinking. But by the time we marry, we bring many years of experiences, habits, personal traits, memories, preconceived notions, personal ambitions. We bring all of this to our marriage as an individual. And your spouse or your mate is bringing the same thing with them. All right, so we got two people joining together that have personal ambitions, preconceived notions about marriages, all of that type of stuff. And really, the majority of that is based on what we saw as we were raised. Right? When Cheryl and I got together, and I'm gonna refer to her a lot, but when we got together, that's my only experience. When we started having a lot of difficult problems, you know, we started kicking around the word divorce, and you know, well, I'm not gonna have this, I'm gonna move on. That was the first thing that we had to get rid of. We had to make a decision that, hey, okay, we're gonna be in this, and we can't bring up that word divorce again. And I can tell you this, when we decided that we were not gonna bring that up unless it was, you read it, life changed for us. Okay, but we had to go through God first. I mean, you know, it all starts with God. But you know, God hasn't laid out for us, but we have to do our part. He'll move, but we have to move. We have to do our part. He's not going to do our part for us. So we made that decision, and you know, it started to roll on after that. It got good. It got real good. But once we got these two people coming together, there's basically 4 things that we're faced with. We have to communicate, compromise, submit to one another, and be unselfish. It's 4 things. 4 things you gotta do. You gotta communicate, you gotta compromise, you gotta submit to one another, and you gotta be unselfish. I've never been in the army, but I'm told that, you know, in war, the first thing that the devil or the opposition, in our case the devil, tries to take out is our communication. If he can stop us from communicating with one another, he's on it. He's on his job. He wants us to not be able to communicate with one another. And not only that, you know, sometimes we believe we're communicating, and it's bad communication. We got to be able to communicate the way God wants us to communicate with one another.